My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. All roads lead to Leeds, and it is the final day of the league stage of this tournament. A double header coming up, but of course we're going to keep an eye on this match that's starting very shortly. India taking on Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka already not with any possibility of making it to the semi-finals. India with still looking at possibility of a first or second place. So if India win, just a reminder, and Australia lose to South Africa later tonight, then of course India will go first place to Old Trafford against New Zealand. We've built up a lot to this game, but let's see how much things have changed since our build-up. Zaheer Khan, Robin Uthappa with me. Let's first a reaction at the toss. Maybe not the worst thing for India to do, the less preferred option in a rehearsal.
Well, yeah, I think it'll make it a little more challenging for them in this game. I think the wicket, as the match wears on, the wicket will deteriorate a little bit. I think it'll be a decent challenge for the batsmen to chase down any score that has been put up, and I think it'll be good for some of the guys in the middle order to get a little bit more of middle time, and hopefully they'll be able to get that today.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we said yesterday, we were discussing that maybe even if you had won the toss, it's not the worst thing in the world to say that, okay, let's do our let's chase.
No, I was thinking completely differently on that. Like, it's about taking the confidence forward to the semis. You don't want to enter semis on a back of a loss. So you just follow your processes and do the right thing. So I was happy to hear that Virat at the toss was saying he would have batted first. That's the right kind of thought process before the big one. You get a win under your belt, like with other teams also. We are saying that, it's important that you look at the game in winning every match in the World Cup. That's how you should look at the series. All the experimentation and all that, in New Zealand, when Rohit Sharma said, okay, we want to try the tough conditions, we know that there is a lot in the wicket, but we still want to bat first just to understand, how we will deal with this kind of pressure in World Cup. That is the right kind of thought process. Okay, now all the things which you've been doing leading up to the World Cup is okay because you wanted to gauge how things are. But now once you are in the World Cup, you just do the right thing. The win is what the top priority should be, and keep your processes going. If warm-up games also, I'm okay with that kind of thought process, but not in a World Cup match. You go in with a simple thought process of going out there, putting your best combination. Yes, in case of someone requires a rest, which we did discuss after the previous match. That is the right kind of thought process. Someone you're resting because you want to extract the best out of that that person. Then that's fine. Otherwise, it should be a combination, and it should be a thought process which is simplified with sticking to your game plans, processes, and taking the confidence into the semis.
What's the reason why we are saying that it's been such a preferred option to bat first, particularly in this latter half of the tournament? Because let's forget the teams who have been eliminated. Let's just concentrate on the 4 semi-finalists and have a look at even they, as the better performing teams in the tournament, have had trouble chasing. So I think these are the reasons why you're saying, and why Zaheer was saying that, look, you need to give yourself the best chance. But the only thing I was suggesting was, it's, of course, you're not saying you lose the match, but you'll just challenge yourself a little bit more. And now, having lost the toss, you have to do so.
Well, even I think what I was trying to say was they will perceive this as a challenge, given the fact that they've lost the toss and they are going to be batting second. So if I'm sure if they won the toss, they would have ended up batting first, and that's also what Virat wanted to do. So in that sense, I think they will perceive this as a challenge for the batting order to say, okay, we're going to be batting. So it'll be like a good dress rehearsal for just in case India is batting second in the semi-finals.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. What about the Indian 11? Just a quick hint from Zaheer Khan about possible resting of someone, and that's the man, Mohammad Shami, who Virat Kohli says has been rested. A like-for-like swap among the spinners. So Kuldeep makes it in place of Yuzvendra Chahal. So that's the only 2 changes. How do you view these changes?
Well, you can see where the think tank is heading with this. They've decided to give Dinesh Karthik one more opportunity, not thinking about the 6th bowling option. They're okay with going in a match with just pure 5 bowlers. And banking on them to do the job for you. So that is something which indicates is going to be the thought process for the semi-finals as well, unless some concerns are there with any of the playing 11, and it's just a couple of guys we are talking about. Rest of the boxes are pretty much sorted. You need not worry about any of the things. All you have to see is that what are the conditions on the day of the semi-finals, and what are your options, the best possible options for that. Like we're talking about which opposition you're playing against. So if they're playing against England, then they might think a little differently, because the match will be in Birmingham, where they managed to have an upper hand with India. So that's something which they will be debating. Fast bowling option, spin option. Is Jadeja an option? So I think they've been very smart right throughout the World Cup also. So today's match, Jadeja coming in is with the thought process that and it will be a good surprise element as well if that goes through, and the conditions allow that. So I think it's going to be a very condition based call as far as Indian team is concerned. But the only person who had not been part of the playing 11 is playing today. So that's not often you see in World Cups that happening. So that's also a good sign that he has been putting all the hard yards, contributing towards team's fielding. But I think today you'll have all the three disciplines open to express.
Yeah, it's always those typical favorite trivia questions. Joy would love them, as to players who have been in a squad, a World Cup winning squad, but may not have played a single game. But at least box has been ticked.
Yeah. For him, I also think that in today's game, he'd really want to come out and create an impact, right? Put his hand up and say, I'm available for the semi-finals. So that Jadeja is also that kind of a character. He likes to, do something special every time he's on the field. That's what makes him stand out on the field when he's just fielding. But he'd want to create an impact also with his batting and his bowling today.
Yep, especially because, as we reminded you, he is one of the 5 bowlers. They haven't gone with the 6th option. A lot of conversation about that the last game, but Hardik Pandya, Jadeja, both are 10-over bowlers for India. What about the Sri Lankan playing 11? We finally see the big man, jersey number 1, TP, coming back into the side, Thisara Pereira for the leg spin, Jeffrey van der Say. Otherwise, they've pretty much stuck to that 11 that they've had. They obviously would want Avishka Fernando to go out on a high, good opposition against India, and batting first. So a good chance for him to express himself no matter what the result of the game.
Absolutely. I think, the Sri Lankan batting orders has been firing in the last 3 or 4 games, especially after Avishka Fernando's come into this side. I think it just gives a little more stability to those opening batsmen who get this team off to a good start. And I think Angelo Matthews hitting form at this point in the tournament, is also helping them put up decent scores, which is helping their bowling lineup, which I think is a stronger suit between the two at this point in time. And I think Jeffrey van der Say, I think the only reason he was left out is because, he wasn't really, able to hit the spots that he wanted to in the previous game. And I think Thisara Pereira comes in after getting a little bit of a break. But I think they will really enjoy batting first and will try to make the most of the opportunity of winning the toss and having that little bit of an advantage. And I think, I don't know, what's a good score at Leeds?
Well, we'll come to that. Remember, there's a My 11 Circle Expert couch up for grabs. So keep your thoughts close to play your cards close to your chest. We'll come to that. But apart from that, the rest of the guys, Kusal Mendis started the tournament looking a little scratchy. But as the tournament has gone on, he's fired. Kusal Pereira is explosive. So, they'll be looking at making use of the conditions.
That has been their problem right throughout the tournament. Someone like Kusal Mendis has the potential. He has scored those test hundreds. He's a more accomplished batsman. Hasn't really been getting those starts. He has been getting out on zeros and less than 5 runs, 10 runs. So that's something which, as a batsman, it's very hard to deal with. Once you get the start and you can build the foundation on that. That is the kind of player he is. So I think he'll be disappointed with the fact that he couldn't get those starts. Once he had got those starts, then possibly he would have made that impact which we were expecting him to do, and that's the kind of player he is, and that had an effect on Sri Lankan batting in a large way, because if you look at Kusal Mendis' selection, they were being conscious in terms of selecting more complete players in terms of batting, keeping the conditions which they'll be facing in the World Cup. And if you look at Sri Lanka's campaign this World Cup, they've been complaining about wickets. You know, they started the World Cup like that, cribbing, whining about, the wickets are not good for the shorter format of the game and so on and so forth. So that basically wouldn't have happened if someone like Mendes would have piled on those runs, given them the platform. Karunaratne has been good. He's been slow with the start, but he has been very consistent with his batting. Kushal Pereira, I felt, showed intent. I think that's one guy in that team. In terms of batting, he provided that spark and belief that okay, on tough conditions also, if you show the intent, you can get away and you can score at a good pace. So that is something which was the confusion, I think, with regard to Sri Lankan batting, which eventually got sorted. But again, it was too late for them in the tournament.
It was too late, and the reason why it was too late was because at least in 3 games, the openers gave them a lightning quick start, but that familiar story of middle overs collapses has meant that they're at the bottom half of the table and not at the top. The number of wickets lost in that middle phase is only Afghanistan had lost more.
Well, yeah. So that's the whole thing. I think that's why Kushal Mendes, his performances actually become critical, especially in the middle order with Angelo Matthews being out of form. Kushal Mendes not coming good. They've been good in that top 3, and we've seen starts where they've gotten to 140, 150 for the loss of 1 wicket, and suddenly they're 190 for 5, it's 190 for 6. I think even against Afghanistan they had gotten off to a flyer, and then they didn't come. The middle order didn't come off. But in the last couple of games, you see that they're playing a supporting role to someone like Avishka Fernando, or if Kushal Pereira is batting, then there's someone who's playing a supporting role there, and that's what you need. You need someone to be like, if you have an attacking batsman batting with you and that attacking batsman scoring runs, you just need to make sure that you feed him the strike and you just hold one end up. So the pressure is off you completely. So all you really need to do is get off strike and feed strike to him and hold one end up and not get out, and just keep batting at one end. And when they do that, pressure is off them, the attention's not on them, because the attention's always going to be on the attacking batsman, and they can quietly go about scoring their runs. Before you know it, they'll be 40, 50 not out, and it's like what even Angelo Matthews did the other day, 85 not out in the end. He batted a little slowly, held one end up, but ended up batting 85 not out of 110 balls.
And that was the match that turned it around,
Exactly,
not just for Sri Lanka, but for every other team in the tournament. Matthews' effort with the bat, just when we were saying that what has he done? Where is Angelo? Has he even turned up? Well, he turned up on that day and things turned around. And also the first couple of games when they were complaining, shall we say, there was no Avishka Fernando and he fixed things over there. But I think one thing's for sure, ever since Avishka Fernando's come in, he's a no-brainer in everybody's My 11 Circle team. So sometimes that can be a problem because if everyone has him, it cancels out. So who are the other X factors you're going to take? Are you going to put a Jadeja in because he's playing today? Well, that could be quite a fact to consider, because I can tell you something. That man Dada will be exactly worried about what he is going to be picking. Hashtag Dada Kavada 5 times the amount of cash. Another reminder, India will be bowling first today, having lost the toss, which, as we said, could be a blessing in disguise. But another reason, India's bowling in tournaments where we've done well has always been a box that we've ticked. And we've got some numbers to back it up. But it's one of those. Of course, you've got the batting. Let's take this and then we'll come back to that. 2003, gentleman sitting here was very much part of that. Runners-up, 10 wicket. Look at that. I mean, in terms of the number of matches and the number of wickets for 2003, 11, 13, 15 and 19. So that's been an enviable position. Runner-up, champions in 11. We've put in the Champions Trophy, of course. It's not just the World Cup's global multi-nation events, and TBC in this particular event. Last World Cup, of course, the semi-finals. So again, the bowlers, Zaheer in 50 over cricket, have the onus on them to set up the games for you, and today is a perfect opportunity.
Well, what do they talk about this game? It's a batsman's game, but bowlers win you matches.
Yeah, but that's completely true. As in, if you want to win tournaments, it's the bowlers who's got to do it for you. Not as in the batsmen they have to do half the job, but it's the bowlers. I think
it doesn't matter what format you're playing,
100%.
be it T20, be it ODIs or Test matches.
Yeah.
You do need the platform from your batsmen, and that is something that has to come together. So and that's what happens in team sports as well. So you got to have different disciplines coming together.
Yeah.
So batting is equally important, but it's important that you set that platform. for your bowlers to go and execute it. And when bowlers are doing well, what does that mean? That means that the oppositions are not able to set that platform. So that is something which is the most important component of winning matches, and that's something which bowlers have the onus on.
Yeah.
And then they've been stepping up to the big occasions consistently, is what those stats are showing.
Yeah.
Be it away victories, be it test matches or the important bilateral series is also where you made that impact. Your batters have always been doing well. They've been consistent, but because they're consistent, that sets the platform for your bowlers. So your bowlers it has to be even game, right? So if the score is par score on a particular track is say 350 runs, then your bowler is also giving that many, and your batting is also scoring that many. You're never going to catch up, right?
Yeah.
So one department has to do better on that particular day. Similarly, in the bowling helpful conditions, you often talk about batters taking the onus on them and taking the team through. So if the par score is say 150, then if you manage to score 220, then that is the cushion which your bowlers has, which they can take the luxury of utilizing on that particular day. So that's how the game goes. So I think, yeah, the responsibility is on bowlers, and they've been doing it fantastically well.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
That's
take.
what's so exciting about this game. That it's just that the whole world thinks it's a batsman game, but the ones who truly win the game are the bowlers. The ones that truly win championships are the teams that have a solid bowling unit. Any successful captain is as successful as his bowling unit, to be very honest. In test matches, if the bowlers don't take 20 wickets, there's no chance of you winning a test match. And that's the reality of it. In a T20 game, if you don't get wickets in the first 5 or 6 overs, if you don't have a couple of breakthroughs in the first 5 or 6 overs, the chances of you winning that game drop by 80%. So it just goes to show what critical role the bowlers play in winning tournaments, in winning matches, in winning important games. Yes, the batsmen set up games. Sometimes on difficult tracks, batsmen play the roles of a match winner. But bowlers literally do that on a day-to-day basis, because they can change the face of a game in a matter of overs.
But the real thing is, in Test cricket, obviously we talk about taking 20 wickets, but it's equally important when you look at 50-over cricket to talk about taking 10 wickets. T20 is a different animal. You're not talking about bowling sides out. But in 50-over cricket, India in the World Cup 2003 bowled out the opposition on 7 occasions, and that made a huge difference.
See, I mean, one thing you will hear from me on repeat.
We don't mind.
all the time. No, that I've always been saying that wickets have that impact on the run rate which the opposition is scoring at. It doesn't matter what stage of the game it is. And you've seen, you don't have to go that far, you can just see in this World Cup itself, how many teams had the platform at the end of 30 overs and not managed to get to that really leveraging that platform.
Exactly.
How many times
Yesterday's game?
Yeah, exactly.
Yesterday's
you look
game,
at
yesterday's game,
they had the platform to get to 350, 360, and then you have the bowlers who take wickets.
Got 8 wickets, who got 7 wickets in the last 10
That reflects on the scoreboard. So that's as simple as that. And once the bowling attacks get that kind of understanding and approach to the game, then they start thinking about creating impact on the game at any given time in terms of taking wickets. I think that's what has happened. So that number is also suggesting that whenever and you can look at this number with any team. It will be the same. You look at Australia in this World Cup, it will be the same number. They have Mitchell Starc, who has made that impact. They have the bowling department who has been taking wickets. That restricts teams below par scores, and that makes it that much easier for your batting to go and get the job done. So it's a very, very simple formula which every bowling unit should work towards.
And Robin, it's not always about having these lethal Shaheen Shah, Afridi and Mohammad Amir type bowlers. It's horses for courses. 1985 World Championship of Cricket was, people often remember, of course, Srikanth blasting, Ravi Shastri playing in every game, but they forget that except for the final, India bowled out the opposition in regular into every single time.
And that's the key, right? And I think that's the key of winning any game, right? I think the minute, no matter how well a batting team is going at it, whatever strike rate or whatever economy rate they're going at, during the run rate they're going at during the course of a match, you take wickets, that run rate drops, and that drops steadily. and even in a T20 game, like if you don't lose wickets in the first 4 overs, or if a batsman doesn't get out, or bowling unit is not able to penetrate wickets in the first 3 or 4 overs, you know for a fact that there's a partnership that's going to build, and if you don't break that partnership, then they're going to run away with the score. The same thing in this World Cup. If you look at all the teams like Australia, England, India, New Zealand for that matter, the 4 semi-finalists, you just look at these teams, they've had one guy who goes out there and is a wicket taker, and he's used strictly as a wicket taker. Mitchell Starc, Mohammad Shami, Jofra Archer, you have Ferguson, Lockie Ferguson. All these bowlers are primary wicket takers. They're just out and out attacking options for them to break partnerships, get wickets so that the run rate is stemmed. And that's the whole idea. And I think that's what will stand out over the next the semi-finals, the next couple of games in the semi-finals. You'll see the better bowling unit that goes forward.
Yeah, well, I've also found another pattern with our good friend Joy Bhattacharya. His questions too tend to be a little bit more batting skewed at times. So I'm wondering if we have another batting heavy type question today. Let's have a look. Maybe it's got neither. Okay, there we go. That's an interesting one. I like it. It's either batting, bowling, or it's something that makes you think. Only once in World Cup history has an exhibition match also been played by 2 participating teams on the same day as their actual fixture. Which World Cup and who were the 2 teams? And of course, if you can figure out why, you'll be able to figure out exactly which World Cup it was. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Get us the answers really quickly. But the My 11 Circle expert couch has been eluding us for a while. We have been appalling at it. But I think we need to start improving and getting close. So, India lost the toss. They will be bowling. How much will they restrict Sri Lanka to?
235.
Good bowling performance. Well done.
I'll say about 280.
235, 280. Is it okay to go somewhere in the middle, or am I sitting on the fence? It's
First,
okay.
First tell us which blue are you wearing?
Yeah.
I don't know. You decide.
Is it the India blue or the Sri Lanka
That's
blue?
why I was. It's closer to the India blue. And
I think you
that's
put
bad news.
You put too much thought into it.
I've put.
No, I've taken solace from looking at the the chart of Sri Lankan games that they've played in the World Cup. So if you go back to the chart, they'll throw it up on the television. You'll see that they've lost 1, abandoned, lost 1, lost 1. So you know what's going to come next.
All right. He's a great believer in patterns.
You find patterns in this.
Right now.
That's why he was so excited with 92 pattern also. He was going on and on. It's just that there are 10 teams in this World Cup and that World Cup had 9.
Let's send a message to
one
the
team made the difference.
Nothing to worry about. So how much are they going to chase down? 258, which means 259 the target. So I have sat on the fence a little bit, but it's kind of a comfortable fence, so I don't mind being there. Thank you, gentlemen. Back in the 15th over with Cricbuzz Combox. Hopefully, if Zaheer Khan has his way, should be at least 2 or 3 wickets down to stem that run flow. That's what the Indian bowling has been doing to win World Cups and other tournaments. We'll see you then. My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.